What's going on, Orlando Magic fans? Oh, I didn't change the final score. That's not the final score. What's going on, Orlando Magic fans? Welcome back to the 6 Minute Show Postgame Live, presented by Rock'em. Your Orlando Magic fall for the fourth time in the series and the final time on the season. 120-89 at the hands of the Boston Celtics. A real, true blowout in the second half to mercilessly and mercifully maybe end what was truly the season from hell, 2024-25. I'm honestly, if you're like me, I'm just breathing a sigh now because this year is finally over. So many highs, but good grief, so many lows. And I'm honestly just kind of relieved that it's over. Sad that it's over, yes. Sad that this team collapsed in the second half and lost by 30, yes. But overall, relieved. Relieved that it's over. Time to look ahead to the future. And we eventually will do that. But for now, we're going to talk about Game 5 with you. And glad you're hanging out with us. Jonathan's going to join me here in just a moment. He's leaving the watch party right now. But once again, Magic fall 120-89 at the hands of the Boston Celtics. They lose the series in 5 games, 4-1. And tonight's game was very interesting. Very close game through 2 quarters. Very close game in the first little bit of the third quarter. Paolo Banchero, called for his 5th foul. And that was quite literally the end of the game. 4-point game when he goes out. They go on some ridiculous, what did David Steele say? Like 45-17 run or something crazy? I don't remember what the exact number is, but you give him his 5th foul and that's GG's. You're never gonna have a chance after that. So we'll talk a little more about that here in a little bit. But I just want to let you know this show is brought to you by Rock'em. Rock'em is the world's largest sock store. So I just want to say we got a ton of Celtics fans hanging out with us. If you like cool Celtic stuff, you could also shop at Rock'em.com. But if you want to really be really cool about it, you'll use this code MAGIC20 because it gets you 20% off your order all season long. Celtics 20 won't do that. I'm just telling you, okay? Magic 20 will, all right? Get you 20% off your order at Rock'em.com. You can get cool socks and underwear for some of your favorite teams, not just NBA, but also NFL, NHL, and college as well. So with your Tampa Bay Lightning fan, maybe you can get some Lightning socks before they end their season tomorrow, probably. If you're a Boston's Bruins fan, you can get some socks from over there as well. Wow. Again, guys, I'm breathing easy right now. This is wild. All right. First off, we have a super chat here from Ty. What in the world is going on here? Look at this. Ty's super chat's so big. Let's do this instead. Ty, Mr. TV says, what? Can we just kick all the Celtic fans out so we can have a serious convo about our team? Rough season, but I'm glad it's over. I can't wait to see what help they get our guys. Yeah, I'm not going to kick out all the Celtics fans. We have plenty of respectful ones in the chat, but thank you for that super chat, Ty. Yeah, we do need to have a long conversation about this team, obviously. And a lot of these conversations have already begun, of course, right? Let's see. Jonathan's joining here. Let me work a little magic over here, pun intended, and get him back in the game. And I'm pretty sure we fixed the problem from last time where, there was the echo and stuff. So let me just make sure this is good to go. And there we go. Let's see here. Do this button. There we go. Hey, Jonathan. What's up, man?
What's going on, man? Obviously, very cool setup that I have here, recording in my car, thanks to this 8:30 start, man. But yeah, I've been better. Not thrilled at the result of tonight's game, like everybody else. But I don't want to jump right into like the season retrospective because I'm so pissed off about that game. But I mean, we all kind of knew it was. I mean, you and I talked about it on the last pod. Like, you're not coming back from Boston. And although we're not coming back from Boston, we definitely didn't need any additional help in getting there. And it felt like we got that in the third. And yeah, man, just really, really tough way to go out. Like, I can't think of a worse way to go out than the way that we did tonight. But yeah, I mean, we all kind of figured this was going to happen at some point, and you weren't getting through this Boston team. But it really sucks, man. How are you?
I'm fine. Here's how I look at it. Like, it obviously sucks. You don't want to lose You don't want your season to end. You don't want to lose by 30, all those things. But at the same time, like for the Magic to lose this way, it fits, right? Like it's the reason why these are the only stats I put on the bottom line today is the field goal percentage and the 3-point percentage, right? 37% from the field, 21% from three. And those numbers were inflated because of Jet Howard at the end of the game, right? Before Jet Howard came in, it was like 18%, right? And that's just a perfect and fitting end to this season because that has been the Magic season all year long. And so, again, it feels very fitting. It hurts. It sucks, but it feels very fitting. We just got another super chat here. This one's from our friend Jesus, who says, this summer is the next 5 years. I'm tired, boss. That feels pretty accurate. Like this summer is going to be what defines, could be even more than 5 years, could be the next 10 years, 15 years. Like this summer feels quite significant, at least to me. We're going to have a ton of time to talk about the summer and the offseason stuff really fast because, you know, we have a lot of people joining us right now. I just want, Jonathan, real fast, just to let everybody know kind of what our plan is for the show. Not this exact episode, but just going forward, just so everybody is clear. We'll do this, obviously, tonight. We're recapping this Game 5. We'll recap the series, all those things. We'll come back Monday and do just kind of like a 5-day removed step back, like a episode of the season, like, you know, 5 days after or I guess 6 days after the end of the season. Then we're going to take a week off, all right? Obviously, Jonathan, myself, we've all been running really hard throughout the whole season and the postseason. We're going to take a week off after that. So, obviously, enjoy the rest of this episode. Tune in on Monday where we'll kind of do a little recap of the season. Then we're going to take a week off, and then we'll come back after that and talk more about this past season, the off season that's ahead, all those kinds of things. Jonathan, man, it's tough. Like, it's obviously a game of two halves, right? Like, the first half, super competitive. I was really happy with how the Magic were fighting and competing on every possession. It wasn't perfect, right? But I was super happy with it. And then the beginning of the third quarter happens. Celtics, you know, have the 4-point lead. Do we just start with the third quarter? Like, because obviously that's where it all fell apart.
Yeah, I do want to back up just a little bit because you have you have the 9-point lead in the first quarter. That dwindles down to one. Gary hits the three at the end of the first, so you have a 4-point lead. And then you're up eight in the second quarter, and then that gets down to one. And the Celtics were 0 for 6 from three in the first half, 9 turnovers, and you're up one. To me, that just kind of like spelled disaster. Like it was a really bad omen. And I put it in our group chat and I told everybody that was around me at Wall Street, I said, we've gotten a pretty favorable whistle so far for being like in a game 5 on the road against Boston. I said the whistle is going to flip after this half. I was not prepared for how much I felt like it flipped. But yeah, I mean, should Paolo have put himself in those positions? Sure. Probably not. Sure. I think you're right about that. And other people have kind of made that point already. But especially the third foul that was called. This all happens in the span of 2.5 minutes in the third, where Paolo catches the elbow. Like to me, in that situation, if anything, it's a no call. Like in a regular season game, is it a foul? Sure. But knowing you just gave Paolo two fouls in the last 2 minutes, and then to give him that, and then like we're just seeing our guys get elbowed in the face. I think it was Corey Joseph. Same play with Jaylen Brown a few minutes later, and then the fact that the Celtics 10 free throws in 9 minutes in the third quarter. There was a 9 minute stretch where literally go back through the play by play, every single whistle went in the Celtics' favor. And now we have we're going to do a whole segment on these Celtics fans, but they're either the dumbest people on earth or the most intellectually dishonest fan base that I've ever come across. To try to compare the physicality of the first 4 games with the officiating in that third quarter, to me, is completely bizarre. You 9 times out of 10 are losing this game anyway. We did not need Tony Brothers and his crew to push the Celtics over the hump because 10 free throws, it was a tie game. All of a sudden, now they have a 10-point lead. It was 60-70, I believe. And then, like, Pritchard's hitting threes, Al Horford's hitting threes, Jason Tatum's hitting threes, Sam Hauser's hitting threes, and the game was just over. Like, at that point, I mean, Paolo, Can you fault Jamal Mosley for sitting him basically the rest of the fourth? I or sorry, the rest of the third. I don't know, but he probably fouls out at the rate in which he was playing in the third. But once he came out, offense just came to a standstill. Parade of free throws for the Celtics, and that was the game. That was the series. That was the season.
Yeah, that was obviously a super tough stretch. I actually hadn't even shared my thoughts about this before you got on here, Jonathan, but like obviously it's tough. I just the couple things like a lot of Magic fans aren't going to like this, but I thought that was I thought the Powell thing was the fifth foul. I thought it was a foul, right? Like you do have to give the offensive player space to go up and shoot. At best it's a 50-50 call, right? So and obviously, I loved that David Steele said this on the broadcast. He said, when they challenged it, they said, okay, so here we go. The official who made the call is going to go to the monitor and review if he thinks he made the wrong call or whatever, however he worded it. It was very funny. But yeah,
It's so stupid in our league that the official who calls the foul gets to be the one to review it and decide whether to overturn it. It makes zero sense.
yeah, it's tough. But yeah, so for me, like I know it sucks, and the second that foul was called, I knew the game was over. Like
Yeah.
even despite what happened next with like all what I think were some really soft foul calls the rest of the third quarter, and the Magic being incompetent from three, shocker, the rest of the game. Even that aside, like once that fifth foul happened, you just know it's GG's, right? So
Yep.
on the one hand, like I'm not angry about that foul call. Maybe I'm a little more disappointed that Paolo was putting himself in positions to even have a chance of being called for a foul. Even the fourth and the fifth one, he shouldn't even give the refs an opportunity to do that. And then also, honestly, I think I can maybe even be a little bit more upset with Mose that he left him in there with his fifth foul. Like, pull him for a few minutes. I know they had a 4-point lead and momentum was kind of going that way, but pull him for a few minutes. I don't know, something. But yeah, you just leave him out there, and that was the end. So the other part of it, why I'm not
really
angry is
quickly,
because go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think both things can be true, right? Like I think in a lot of games and in a lot of scenarios that is a foul. But like the moment of the like Tony Brothers saying, you know what, I'm gonna uphold this. I know this is this guy's fifth foul. He decided the series.
Yeah,
And there like if you've watched the NBA for any significant amount of time, you know sometimes calls are not made. Like we look back to game four, the Knicks and the Pistons, they don't call that foul on Josh Hart because of the scenario and because of the situation. So like I just think in that moment Tony Brothers had the opportunity to say, you know what? Let's give him the benefit of the doubt, ball, let him play on. Like, worst case scenario for me, like, it's a play on. Like, Paolo is in his space, yes, takes the elbow to the chin, just make it a play on, and it ended the series. But yes, you should not have been in that situation.
yeah, absolutely. And the other part of it, why I'm not angry, is because in some ways, like what I was saying on the show before you got on here, I'm also just kind of breathing a sigh of relief that this season is over, because like this has
Yeah.
been a truly as many good times as we had. There have been some truly miserable times this season. Like it was a rough one, and we're gonna have a lot of time to obviously recap all of that. But it's just exhausting. Like, first off, Celtics fans, there's still a ton of you hanging out with us. I see you in the chat, and we're gonna get to the chat in just a second. Like Celtics fans, what you saw tonight, the 37% from the field and 21% from three, that's normal this season for us. Like, I know it was hard to watch, it was ugly, it was all those things. For us, that happens like once a week. Like, not even exaggerating. Once a week this season.
Twice a week.
Yeah, sometimes more. It has been miserable. The offense has been miserable. The shooting has been miserable. And so to see it happen tonight, on the one hand, obviously it sucks, but on the other hand, it is a gigantic red flag in the face of this front office that things have to get better. Things have to get better for Paolo and Franz's sake, for Jalen's sake. And to be fair, Paolo wasn't great tonight. You know, obviously it's tough to get in a rhythm when you end up having to sit most of the second half, but Paolo wasn't great. Franz was okay, but at the end of the day, no one could shoot the ball. And honestly, it was Jet Howard who inflated the 3-point shooting stats anyway. So, enough from us. I think we got a few super chats while we were talking about that. Let's see. Meh says, we still want Boston. We have that team figured out, just not enough shooting slash offense with this team. I mean, defensively, yeah, I think we might be one of the best teams at defending Boston. But that last section, the last sentence you said is pretty significant. Just not enough shooting or offense with this team. Yeah, that's why the gap between us and Boston is a lot. By the way, this 31-point loss, I expected to have like 2, maybe 3 of these in this series. So I think that's why a lot of Magic fans are, maybe feeling a little bit better about this series than they expected, because we had so many competitive games. All right, Jalen Lawson with the super chat says, I'm the only diehard Magic fan I know. I wanted to thank you guys for what you do. This was my first year following the pod, and I'm happy I found you guys. You made this season fun to be a part of. Jalen Lawson, thank you so stinking much. That means a lot. That's literally why we do what we do. Absolutely. All love. Oh, look at that. You got the Apple hearts. That's
That was
amazing.
wild.
Yeah, it's literally why we do what we do. It's to bring Magic fans together, and so that's amazing to hear that from you. Appreciate you joining us on the ride this season. All right. We got another one from Timothy who says, "Poor shooting lost us the season, not the injuries." I think both can be true. I think if Mo and Jalen are around, you're not the 7 seed. You're probably the 4 or the 5 seed. You have a better chance in the first round, especially if you play the Milwaukee Bucks. Good golly, that was crazy. I think both can be true, though. If Jalen and Mo are healthy, your shooting is still going to hurt you a lot of nights, but it's not going to be this bad, I don't think. And then Jalen Lawson with another super chat says, usually you gain respect for players after a series, but I lost a lot of respect for JB and Tatum. All they did was cry, and Celtics fans don't watch hoops. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, Jason Tatum can play basketball pretty well. A pretty good basketball player, but yeah, a little corny for sure. The other thing I wanted to say before we go to like the chat and maybe talk more about this game, at least, guys, we are not the Miami Heat or the Milwaukee Bucks. If there's a silver lining to tonight, it's that our season did not end nearly as miserably as those two teams. Miami losing by 55 last night, and the Milwaukee Bucks choking an 8-point lead with 39 seconds to go, I think it was. Like one of the craziest choke jobs I've ever seen by Doc Rivers today. It was crazy. All right. Should we go check out this chat over here and see what we got?
Well, I do think another silver lining, like you pointed out, like it is there's nothing at this point, there's no feel good, there's no moral victory that you can take from the loss of this game and of this series. Even the most delusional, and I'm not saying this is Jeff Weltman, but even the most delusional general manager would come away from this game and from this series and say, you know what we've got right now is not good enough. We've got to put more around these guys. And that's kind of where the focus is going to go now is to the offseason. I know we're going to take a little bit of a break, but yeah, that's kind of right where we're going. And I'm getting like notifications from our group chat and stuff like that. The fact, not that I expected anything else, but I would have loved Jamal Mosley to, for once, just tear into the officiating after the game tonight. That's not his style. He's never done it. But if there was any time to do it, like, I really surprised that he didn't get a tech with the Paolo call. And honestly, if he just would have been ejected at that point, I would have just tipped my cap to him and would have taken it. Felt like it was overdue in this series, like him picking up a tech and or getting tossed from a game or whatever. I just you know it's the Celtics, you know it's possible, you hear stories, but to see it happen to your team, man, is truly something else. And again, there are a handful of Celtics fans that I've engaged with who have been civil and you've been able to reason with during this series. But overwhelmingly, man, just a bunch of clowns. Like it just they've been in our comments on YouTube, they've been in our mentions on Twitter.
We've
Like
gotten some
just no
nasty
ability to
DMs.
reason with them.
We've gotten
Yeah,
some
like telling us
nasty
to kill
DMs.
ourselves and
Yeah.
like, man, like it's just we always talk about this, but things that these kids wouldn't ever say
Yeah.
to people in real life. It's just and most of them are 14, 15-year-old kids who all they've known is the Jason Tatum Celtics and just talk sideways to people on the internet as a hobby. And man, it just just adds insult to injury having to lose and hear it from a fan base like this.
Yep.
But hey, man, if you don't like it, beat them, right?
That's true. That's exactly right. Well, before we go to the chat, just want to let those of you know, because there are still a ton of people watching, not just on YouTube, but also our simulcast over on X. Who we are, we're the Six Man Show. We're an Orlando Magic podcast and content stream, I guess. We do all kinds of crazy stuff covering the Orlando Magic. So if you're new around here, you check us out. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Whether you're watching it live or watching it later, hit the like button. Especially if you're a Celtics fan. If you just want to give us a pity like, you just go ahead and hit that like button. Every like counts, whether you're a Magic fan or a Celtics fan. But especially if you're a Magic fan, hit the like button if you appreciate our coverage from this entire season. Without any further ado, let's pick out some messages from the chat and see what we got. By the way, if there's any Celtics fans that really want to get involved, feel free to hit a super chat. Super chats get read, and so if you want to do that, Celtics fans, minimum $50 super chats, and we'll read it. Just kidding.
I was gonna say, give us $100 and you can tell us to do whatever you want.
Yeah, I'll read whatever if you send $100 in the super chat. But all right, let's go to we'll pick out some messages here from the chat. Let's see what we got here. Matthew says Cole is not made for for playoff basketball. He choked both years. I'm done with him and Pope. No messing around, and get some consistent shooters, please, and thank you. Cole is tough because Cole, I still believe, is one of the emotional leaders of the team. I really believe that. You think about their huddles and the pregame stuff, and it's Cole who's usually leading that. But on the court this season, it I don't know. It doesn't feel like we can run it back with him. What are your early thoughts as the season ended 30 minutes ago on Cole from this season?
Well, I'm on, what is this, Washington or Michigan, one of those states. Yeah, I think I'm on Washington here, and I think I just saw a Lady of the Night get picked up. So the things that you see in Orlando.
That's right.
But the thing about Cole is with this team and the style of play, he is unplayable in the playoffs. And I think we saw that in game 1. We saw that in game 4, and we saw that tonight in game 5. I do think if he's not like your sole point of creation, when he's like in with that bench unit, he has all the defensive attention on him. And I don't really think that he's suited for that kind of role. You put him on a team that has a few more offensive weapons around him in the lineup, and I think that you'll see him, be a bit more effective, potentially in a playoff series. But the way that they were going at him defensively every single possession, and then just some of the decision making, I guess I would say, just was not ideal. And comes in, I think only had I only remember the one basket. I don't remember if he had any free throws, but I think it was 2 points tonight. Just he's got to come in and just be like super microwave off the bench to have a chance to really be impactful consistently. And that's really been the story of Cole, throughout his tenure here in Orlando so far, is just very up and down, very inconsistent.
Yeah. 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 It's tough because he's a guy that a lot of Magic fans love his personality, and he's been here for quite a long time compared to some of the other guys on the roster. And so, yeah, it's going to be an interesting offseason from him. Jonathan, we got a ton of super chats while we were talking about Cole. First one's from Kareem, says Corey punched above his weight this series. 100% facts. Shout out Corey Joseph, doing way more than any of us could have ever asked or imagined, and he was playable. Yeah.
Very true, extremely true, yet at the same time, not nearly enough,
Yeah.
which is the story of this series and of this roster.
Right. To me, he overperformed what I expected from him, but yeah, underperformed what this team needed. And that's not on Corey. I don't mean Corey underperformed. I mean, this team needs someone else other than Corey Joseph starting games in the playoffs. And I know if we have Jalen, he's starting, but the drop-off between Jalen and the next person starting shouldn't be that drastic, And Anthony Black, could he have been that guy? Maybe. I don't know. Game 1, he looked terrible. Cole Anthony, we just talked about him, not that guy. So, again, goes back to the offseason in the summer that's ahead. But I agree. Shout out to Corey Joseph. Ty with another super chat here says, I'm done with moral victories. I know we aren't championship ready, but I want to get into the second round next year. Winning will keep our stars from looking elsewhere. 100%. Yeah, Jonathan and I talked about that a little bit on what was it, Monday's episode of the show. Yeah, next year, like second round has to be not just like the goal, the expectation. Like it's time for this
The
team
floor.
to take another step. Yeah, it has to be the floor. Has to be the floor. And you could argue that this season may have been that. I think most people just said, home court advantage, but injuries obviously threw that off. Next season, it's got to be the floor, the expectation. Jesus says, we don't need emotional leaders that can't score. Talking about Cole. Yeah. Rough. Majestic with a super chat says, thanks again, guys. My third year following this channel, and you guys have been my part-time therapist during these long NBA seasons. Facts, man. Facts. Appreciate that, Majestic. Yeah, especially this season. We need a lot of therapy. Shahin with the very generous super chat says, cheers to this season. Wagner certified riser. Get Sexton or Simons here. Go Magic. Hit the like. Yeah, sign me up for one of those guys. But yeah, please hit the like button. Absolutely. There's still a bajillion of you hanging out with us, and we always appreciate that. All right, let's go back to the chat. Let's pick out a few more of these and see what we got here tonight. Oh, gosh, excuse me. Yeah, let's see here. Lots of people talking about Tony Brothers in the chat. Shout out Tony Brothers for his performance tonight, giving a couple assists for the Boston Celtics. Some people saying he needs to be investigated. Gotcha.
Well, really, not to do this again. What really peeved me, bro, is the smiling with Jason Tatum and stuff. Like after you just submarined our season, bro. Like
Yeah.
I didn't need that. That was just brutal.
It's salt in the wound, no doubt. We got a super chat. Evelyn says, need a point guard who shoots and sets the table. Decent defender who won't kill our identity like Kobe White. Trade number 25 to Silva, Cole, future first or two. Keep AB and number 16 because we need good contracts. Thoughts? Let's see. That's a lot. Trade number 25 to Silva, Cole, future first or two. That's the thing. Like it's going to have to be some sort of package deal to get somebody at this point, And so whether it's that or I don't know, it's very possible. Something like that is very possible. Or they package both first round picks from this year and see what they can do with it. Who knows?
I have a hot take.
All right.
I have no qualms with moving KCP this offseason. And
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think I would say that. Beginning of the year, people are talking, oh, he's terrible. We need to trade this guy. And I was like, you make a veteran signing finally, a guy who was pretty relatively sought after in free agency, and then 1 year later you decide to move him. I don't care about that. I don't feel like the emotional stuff, like the blah blah blah. It feels good, whatever. I just want to win. I really
Yeah.
don't care. And yeah, he fleeced the Magic for $22 million this year. Did not play up to his contract, did not play up to the expectation, any of that. And if he's a guy that, can be included in a move to take on one of these big contracts, some of these guys that we're talking about, I'd rather do that rather than having to like let's say if it's between like Wendell and KCP, I would probably hang on to Wendell. I feel like, he proved to be more valuable this season and more valuable in this postseason for sure. Yeah, if that's we get the Shams news, breaking news, whatever, the Magic are trading KCP for whoever, I'm probably going to be okay with that.
Yeah. I won't lose sleep over that either, which is hard to believe because, again, we've talked about it defensively. He's still elite, We saw it in this series. Like when we talked about it, he was so good in this series defensively.
Yeah.
But you don't pay a guy $22 million to be a starter who just plays defense and is quite literally a negative on offense. Like it's just not good enough. And if this team
Yeah.
thinks that he can just flip a switch and be better next year, maybe. But I don't know how. Like how does that even happen?
Well, we've had this conversation that at some point you have to trade offense for defense. You're without Jalen Suggs for half of the season, and this team still finished second in defensive efficiency. You get Jalen back, 60, 70 games next year, you can basically trade out whoever, give more offense. This team should still be a top five defensive team.
Right.
Moving. If you had to move KCP to make a deal for Anthony Simons work, I'm doing that, and I'm not batting an eye.
Yeah. A few more super chats here. This one's from, again, Jesus. Thank you. Says the FO photo, front office photo on X needs to be our summer pick. Wait, front office? Oh, our summer. Yeah, I got it now. Go ahead. What were you saying?
No, if you haven't seen it, there was basically like a screenshot from the broadcast tonight of Jeff Weltman, John Hammond, and Anthony Parker all sitting there looking dejected. And yeah, I hope they look at that photo and realize how miserable they look and say, "Hey, we don't want to feel like this anymore," and have a heck of an off season.
Yeah, absolutely. Luis Rosario says, I want to thank all the six-man staff, Jonathan, Kevin, Ben, manager Carmen, for another fantastic year of Magic coverage. Magic fan for life, 36 years. Thank you, Luis, for always supporting the show. Obviously, always good to see you at games and watch parties and all those things. But yeah, shout out, as was mentioned, Jonathan, Ben, Carmen, Sam, and Matt, did post-game lives as well. And so shout out to everybody. And another fun year of six-man show stuff, regardless of how the Magic were. And then another super chat here from Meh says, need to develop AI referees. No integrity, the NBA. Certain moments makes you wonder. All right, let's see what else we got from the chat here. Let's see if we can find a couple more of these. Janine, our dear friend, says, such a sad way for our guys to go out. They are fighting. We will never know how it would have turned out. Yeah, if we were healthy, you just never know. You never know. Chris says, ready to go down with the Lightning ship tomorrow, too. Oh, facts, bro. What a collapse. A collapse in both worlds.
Milwaukee Bucks-esque.
Very bad. Very bad. Jonathan with a super chat says, love not shaking hands at the end. Good series, but screw you, Boston, he says, in other terms. But I missed that. I had already turned it off as soon as the game was over. So there was no handshakes or anything. I mean, I saw Mosley shook hands with what's his face? Freaking Joe Mazzulla. Yeah. But so the players didn't either? Did you see that? Or
I didn't see it either. Literally the second that the buzzer sounded, I bounced and walked over here to my car.
Gotcha. Hector says, Cancun trip early, boys. Let's work on them free throws and come back next year. Man. Facts, man. Free throws, just a problem. Christian says, Boston had 0 made threes going into the half. It's crazy how everything just spiraled in the second half. I mean, facts, everything that could go wrong went wrong in that third quarter. From the foul calls to the three-point shooting, just to the Magic's lack of three-point shooting, where they missed 16, 17 straight threes. Yeah, that was the difference in the game, no doubt. Chris D says, question for J.I., how can you be an NBA player, play a whole season, and still not be in good enough shape to play more than a few minutes? J.I. tonight plays 14 minutes. We've talked about it many times. It's very strange. We hope it's just due to the weight gain and that maybe this offseason they'll reverse it, if that's even a thing. But yeah, not a season that gives you a bunch of confidence in J.I., even though he played a ton of games, 70 games I think he played, plus playoffs. But the actual minute count is not something that gives, at least me, a lot of confidence. I don't know about you.
No, definitely not. Whatever, I don't know whose decision that was. Maybe we'll, be able to find get an answer to that at some point this offseason. But just a massive misstep. It's the only thing that makes sense, Yeah, it's just really perplexing.
Rael says, yo, was this Mo's last game? To me, no. No.
Guys, yeah. The Magic are not in this series without the job that Jamal Mosley did. Was he perfect? Absolutely not. But I don't know how you can look at the scheme and the game plan that was put together and not come away with it. That Jamal gave us a chance to win a series that we had no business winning or competing in. And this was maybe not as hard fought of a 5-game series, but 4.5 games. 4 games maybe if you take away some moments from that first game. But this series was way more competitive than we thought it would be. And we had Celtics in 5, but no, to me it would be a massive mistake to move on from Jamal Mosley this offseason.
And that's not even talking about the regular season. The fact that you had all those guys miss all those games and you still won 41 games and made the playoffs. Yeah, I'm not even close to Jamal Mosley out. I'm not even in that stratosphere personally. All right, let's skip ahead a little bit here in the chat and see what else we got. Got a ton of Celtics fans hanging out with us, which, again, very appreciative as long as everyone's being peaceful and calm and friendly. Love that. More Tony Brothers stuff. Some people saying they still want Boston. I don't know about that. Matthew Kennison says, Trae Young, here we come. I don't know if I'll ever get over that play-in game. I don't know, man.
Dude, go from bad to worse.
Yeah. This one is tough. This is a tough chat message, and I hate to put it up there. But Kobe says, we won't hear from Paul Porter anymore. Sunday night, officially the final Orlando Magic game for Paul Porter as the PA announcer after 36 years. That is a tough pill to swallow. A man who voiced many of our childhoods and upbringings and all those things in a roundabout way. So shout out to Paul Porter. Nothing but love and respect. And hey, I would love if Paul Porter just attended a Magic game. That'd be so fun to see him up in the stands and we could all come around and say hey, but I don't know if that'll ever happen. But anyway, Jay Chinchilla, I'm pretty sure this is a Boston fan, but it's very funny. He says, hey, at least Cole Anthony was hooping. Oh, gosh. That is tough. He's referring to the Cole Anthony quote, saying, basically paraphrasing, they were asking about the physical play and how the Celtics were reacting to it, and he said, basically, again, paraphrase, I don't know, man, I'm just out here hooping or something like that. I'm trying to hoop or whatever. And yeah, he did something. So, Louis Rosario says the starting five only has two definite players, Paolo and Franz. The rest is up for grabs, especially with the new players coming in. We'll see. We'll see what new players potentially come in. Yeah, I would say Jalen is still in that category. Mo usually comes off the bench, but who knows? What that could be for Mo this year, but I don't know. Santi says, Boston is beatable for us. Just need a few tweaks and a healthy roster, and we can beat them. Cavs seem more of a challenge to play against. Yeah, Jonathan talked about on the last episode, just matchups are huge, and we just match up well with the Celtics, it feels like, especially defensively. So,
a team that doesn't have a true rim protector, Powell and Franz are going to be able to kind of have their way, like last year we saw with Mobley and Jared Allen. And you just have to add some shooting and a bit more creation. If you can still be a top 5 or 6 defensive team next year and you can find your way to be, top 10 to 15 offensively, will just make such a big difference. Yeah, man. Sucks.
Maddie says, #fire Weltman. Are we there? Are you fire Weltman team yet? Or
no? No, I mean, we've been saying this since February. Like, it doesn't really matter what happens the rest of the season. Like, they made their decision, and now they're going into the off season, and which I think they're up for an extension. We can argue, does it make sense to get an extension done early in the off season so they're not. And I'm not the first person to make this point, but so that they're not kind of making desperate moves to try to save their jobs or to ensure stability as we go further into the offseason, or do you kind of make them prove it and do the extension next year? Who really knows? But no, I'm not at fire them. If I was at fire them, it would have been back in February. Nothing has really changed since then.
But I agree. But ask me in October. Ask me in November. Because this summer, to me, is going to determine that, honestly. If we just sit by and say we're running it back, exact same roster, I will probably be ready for that in October. Like there has to be
in August. I don't even have to wait till October. Ask me in August.
Yeah, I mean, think about the past 2 years. There have been big trades, even training camp week. There have been trades. So. Again,
maybe
when the season starts, yeah, they have until then. That's what I'm saying. They have until opening night, and then we'll see. We'll see.
I need a little bit more aggression. I don't want them sitting around on their hands, kind of waiting for the perfect deal to fall in their lap come the beginning of October. I want them ringing the phones, whenever free agency starts this year.
Yep. This one's from Kobe again. He says, 3rd year for me. He's talking about following the channel. Love this community. They're the most consistent channel on YouTube on top of that. Thank you so much. We try our very best. You know you can find us Mondays and Thursdays during the regular season, and then after every game in the playoffs. And so appreciate you recognizing that. Jay says we are not a championship team with or without Suggs and Mo. Really need a stud point guard, and we have got to learn how to shoot. Even free throws are bad, but you guys are awesome. Thank you, Jay. Yeah, no one, I don't think anybody, especially on this show, has said even with Suggs and Mo, we're a championship team. But I do think with Suggs and Mo, we're not a 7 seed. You know, if everybody's healthy, this is a top 4 team in the East. Yeah, it's tough that we didn't get him. Tough that we didn't.
And this is probably a 7-game series with those guys.
Mm-hmm. I still, like, as downer as tonight is, I still genuinely believe, after seeing the first 4 games, that I believe the Magic could have won the series if they were fully healthy. I really do. I have no reason not to believe that.
You would need some good shooting variance. It's not impossible. I would still say it's pretty unlikely. But, yeah, it just ended up being so much closer than I thought it could be.
Yeah. Colin Cordero says, bring Anthony home. Well, he's already halfway home. At least he was this weekend. We saw him at the game on Friday. We'll see. We'll see if he comes back this year. Kareem says, Suggs, Mo, Franz, Paolo, everyone else, peace. It's hard to argue against that. You know, you might be able to argue in favor of a couple guys. And obviously we'll talk a lot about that over the offseason, but certainly some guys that maybe probably won't be back next year. Escoso Fresco says, no, Kev, that wasn't a foul. Talking about the Paolo thing. Yeah, again, I know a lot of Magic fans are going to feel like that was a foul. It's tough. It's tough. It's a 50-50 call, and I feel like I just feel like Paolo can't put himself in a position to even potentially have that call made. So let's see here. A few more chats here. What are we at? 45 minutes. Actually, no, let's go to the box score. Let's look at the box score. We've been doing this a long time. We'll take a little chat break and go check out the box score over here. Franz, 25 points, 10 of 22 from the field, 0 of 4 from 3, hit all 5 of his free throws. No turnovers. Franz, pretty good tonight. Again, you want to see him knock down some threes, but can't really complain. Paolo, only 29 minutes for him, 6 of 15 from the field, does go 2 of 4 from 3, 9 boards, 6 assists, 19 points with 3 turnovers, and of course those 5 fouls. Wendell with 12 and 10 in 34 minutes. KCP knocks down a couple threes, ends up 2 of 7 from 3 with 8 points. Corey Joseph doesn't score tonight in 20 minutes. Anthony Black, 3 of 10 from the field, 1 of 3 from 3, 8 points for him. J.I., 5 points, 2 of 5 from the field. Airballed that wide open corner 3, which was painful to watch. Very painful. Gary Harris plays 15 minutes, has that big 3 at the end of the first quarter, I guess it was. Cole Anthony, just 18 minutes for him, 1 of 6 from the field, 0 of 4 from 3, a turnover and 3 fouls in 18 minutes. Goga got some burn today, and by burn, I mean 2 minutes. A lot of people have been clamoring for Goga to play. We saw him play, and it didn't last long. Caleb Houston comes in there for 6 minutes, didn't score. Jet Howard and Tristan DeSilva come in garbage time. Jet Howard knocks down 2 threes to improve the Magic's three-point shooting on the night, which I think was at 18% before that. Magic only turned the ball over 9 times, which is pretty surprising in a game you lose by 30 that they only turned it over 9 times. But a lot of that is due to this right here. Celtics shoot 54% from 3, and that is after they went over in the first half. They did not knock down a 3 in the first half. They end up 13 of 24 from 3. That's a pretty big difference. 13 threes to 8 threes, but especially 24 attempts versus 38 attempts. They just crushed you from deep in that second half. Only 3 offensive rebounds for the Celtics. That's pretty interesting. What were you saying?
So 14 of 24, they were 0 for 6 in the first half. So what does that mean? They went 14 of 18?
13 of 24. Yeah,
half?
so 13 for 18, yeah. It's insane.
Grief.
Absolutely insane. You talk about like not sustainable and things that aren't sustainable for the Magic. That's not sustainable for the Celtics, but it doesn't matter. Like all you have to do is put together one half like that, and it's GG's.
They've got to be breathing a sigh of relief going into the next round because like they had to be questioning like are the entire team just completely out of rhythm? And it's like, no, we can have a 7-minute stretch and we're back to the Boston Celtics.
Right. Yeah. And that felt like the Boston Celtics that we're used to there. That second half was pretty wild, pretty impressive, honestly. And then, yeah, only 3 offensive rebounds for the Celtics. So credit the Magic on the glass. You end up with 15 offensive rebounds. It's so interesting. The more stats you look at it, the more it's like, this was a close game, right? Like, the Magic did a lot of things to keep them in the game, but ultimately just came down to, let's see, personal fouls, 18 to 20. I mean, even the foul game, it's not like they had a ton more. The Magic had a ton more fouls. Like, it's not the turnovers. It's those were 9 to 11. It really came down to the 3-point shooting there in the second half. Just the barrage, 13 of 18, like you said, in the second half, and that was GG's. That's very interesting. To the team stats here, obviously the biggest point here is the third quarter. Shocker, right? We've talked about it many times on this show. Third quarter has been a disaster for this team. Tonight felt a little bit different, a little bit of different circumstances, but the point remains the same. Magic get outscored 36-13 in the third quarter and never had a chance after that. Magic with only 36 points in the paint. They do get 13 fast break points. They led by as many as 9, but trailed by as many as 34. Get 25 bench points, and again, only 9 turnovers. Oh, man. We just got a super chat here from Mind of Mando. Says, you can only expect the C's to miss threes for so long. The Magic had the whistle and still couldn't pull away. You can't blame the whistle flipping. Okay, obviously a Celtics fan. To say the Magic had the whistle is quite interesting. Quite interesting choice, but thank you for those $5, Mando. Appreciate that. And you're right, you can only expect the C's to miss threes for so long. However, it's not like the C's were just missing threes because of bad luck through 4.5 games, right? The Magic's defense was outstanding, as it's been all season long, and honestly, against the Celtics for a few years now, right? So you have to give the Magic's defense some credit. It's not like the Celtics were just missing a bunch of wide open shots. They weren't getting them. Some people saying they're tired of Coach Mosley. I'm just not there, man. I'm just not there. I can't get there. Sam Stone
I
says,
don't know how you watch this game or you watch this series and come away that Coach Mosley is the problem. Is
yeah,
he perfect? No, but like in terms of like if we're assessing fault to individuals, he's pretty far down the list.
yeah. Celtics fan here, Sam says, Celtics fan here, you guys definitely have a bright future. Defense is crazy. You just got to get some more guys, and you will be a top 4 seed for the foreseeable future. Again, we believe we're a top 4 seed. Well, we were a top 4 seed last year when we were healthy. But you're right. We are missing a couple guys that could take us to the very next step, the next level. I think maybe we can do that. I'm Joby says, Anthony Simons, walk with me. We'll see. Matt says we have a bright future. Absolutely, we do. Man, you guys are crazy in the chat. We have a long way to go. We're not going to get through all these. Obviously, if you really want to be read, you can go to the super chats. Let's do this, Jonathan, really fast. I want to pull up the scores from around the league as we always do on this show, and we'll kind of use this to review some other happenings. Pistons beat the Knicks tonight. That's a big one. Pistons force a game 6 on Thursday night in Detroit. That's going to be electric. We already mentioned it, but the Bucks, Pacers, the Bucks with one of the all-time choke jobs in overtime. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. It was crazy. Pacers win. They win the series. They're on to face the Cleveland Cavaliers. And then right now, Nuggets on top of the Clippers by 13, 93-80. In that pivotal game 5, a series that's tied at 2-2. So that means Thursday now. Oops, I just accidentally double-clicked. Thursday is going to be Knicks Pistons game 6, like we just mentioned, and then Nuggets Clippers game 6 as well. And then trying to look and see if they've already announced. Aha, yes. So game 1, Pacers Cavs is going to be Sunday. That series will tip off. So we'll see how that goes. That's going to be very, very interesting. After watching the Celtics, Jonathan, how do you feel about them in the second round against either the Knicks or the Pistons? Do you still feel like they're probably the team to beat in the East along with Cleveland, or has this series changed anything like that for you at all, or is it just matchup based?
I think it's just matchup based. I
Yeah.
think we're one of the few teams that can do what we did defensively to the Pistons. I think, or not the Pistons, the Celtics. I think whoever they play, the Knicks or the Pistons in the next round, we're going to see much more what we're accustomed to seeing offensively with the Celtics. And I don't think the Knicks are the same team that they were last year. Pistons, although they're having a really strong first round series versus the Knicks. I feel like their inexperience is really going to show if they're able to make it to the next round. And yeah, I'm going to pick the Celtics in probably 6 games, no matter who they play in the next series. And I think we're going to see, more what we're used to with that team.
Yeah. Heck yeah, says Cavs.
Even though I personally will be rooting against them no matter what.
Yeah, facts, brother. Heck yeah, says Cavs fans were way nicer last year in a way more competitive series than Celtics fans. Imagine if Boston sports teams didn't actually didn't win a title every other year. Yeah, we didn't have Cavs fans in our DMs telling us to put a handgun to our noggins and pull the trigger. That's what we got this year. So,
I will say, Celtics fans have been blessed with all this amazing history and tradition, and they would never make it as Magic fans. They would not be able to survive the things that we have gone through
that's right.
and the things that we deal with as a small market team. So just an incredibly ignorant and privileged fan base, at least those that we have been lucky enough to deal with the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. So amazing says Suggs is the emotional leader of this team. Absolutely. Darius says, Cole Anthony, it's been fun, my boy. We'll see. We'll see what happens this summer. Last couple thoughts here from the chat before we call it a night. We've been going at this for quite a long time, but hey, it's the end of the season. I'm Jovi says, I just lost it. There we go. I'm Jovi says, y'all are literally my rant therapy every post-game live. I'm here talking about myself the entire game. No, I'm Jovi. There's plenty of us here. We see you. We see you. Let's see here. Jason says Colin Sexton is a good shot creator and KCP is a movement shooter. I mean, obviously it'd be great to have both, but I don't think that's really a realistic thing, unfortunately. Money's going to be interesting. It's really kind of the driving force behind this. Also, Jonathan, let's see. So May comes up tomorrow. It's obviously Wednesday now, but tomorrow, Thursday. So that means we're a little over a month away from the end of the season when the finals end, which means we should be a little over a month away from the Paolo extension happening. So that's another thing to keep in mind. We're like probably 6 to 7 weeks away from that, Paolo getting the max extension. So obviously we'll talk more about that on the Six-Man Show here over the coming weeks. Let's see. Last couple things. Oh, Carmen says, thank you, Lewis. Referring to Luis Rosario's kind comments earlier about manager Carmen. Thank you for that. Jesus says Paolo went straight to the locker room. Okay, very interesting. I'm surprised he didn't go.
Good.
Yeah, go dap up Jason Tatum or somebody. Heck yeah, with a super chat. Thank you so much for that super chat. Surprising, but also, and yeah, a couple people are agreeing with that. Yeah, he did not shake Jason Tatum's hand. Interesting. That's kind of spicy. I kind of like it. It's kind of cool. Kind of cool. We can't complain about LeBron not doing it anymore, though. That's out the window because Magic fans have complained about that for a long time, and so our guys did it, but we can't do it.
He's got a long history of being a crybaby.
That's true. That's true. Lots of people saying no to Trae Young. Nihal says, love the show. Gonna miss you guys. Well, good news, Nihal. We don't stop in the offseason. These post-game live stop, obviously, because there's no games. But every Monday and Thursday during the offseason, you can obviously still find us right here on YouTube. We'll upload the podcast or on your podcast streams or wherever. And sometimes during the summer, we'll do a couple live shows just for fun. And so be an opportunity for chat to get involved again. And so gonna miss you, but we're not going too far. You can still hang out with us there. All right, we're almost to the end, Jonathan. I'm trying to. We got another super chat. This one says, "Heck yeah!" Says Dante as PA announcer. Thoughts? Dante would be a great PA announcer, but he's also a great guy on TV as well. Whether he's doing the studio stuff, sideline, play-by-play, Dante is at home on the Bally Sports broadcasts. Or Bally Sports, wow, throwback. FanDuel Sports broadcast.
Fox Sports Florida, baby.
Yeah, Sunshine Network. Okay, David T with the super chat here says, thanks for a great season and great shows. Magic fan from Taiwan since Shaq and Penny duo. Wow, thank you, David. Appreciate that super chat and appreciate the kind words. Braden with another super chat here says, just want to say I've been a lurker this season. Lifelong Magic fan. Love you, Kevin and Jonathan. Go Magic. Braden, appreciate you, man. That's very, very kind words. And again, we love doing what we do for Magic fans like you and us. It's just a good place for us to debrief on Magic games and stuff like that. All right. Last couple thoughts here from the chat. Chris D says, hire Joe Ingles as shooting coach. Sign me up for that. That'd be fun to have slow-mo Joe back in town. That'd be awesome. Be really fun. All right, Jonathan, final thoughts from tonight, from the season, as we're sitting here just removed from the end of this game. What you thinking? What you feeling?
Yeah, just mostly really grateful for the community, for everybody that listens and watches and subscribes and all that kind of stuff. And it sucks because there's a lot of Magic fans that were here tonight that I know I won't see again until October.
Yeah.
So this isn't even like a bittersweet end of the season. It's honestly just really bitter. And yeah, not being back in Kia Center on Thursday really sucks, and not being back in that building until you know October. And I mean, we'll have media day towards the end of September, but yeah, once again, just really appreciative of the privilege that we have to get to do the show and everything that we do, and the fact that people listen and tune in. We don't take that stuff for granted. And at the end of the day, the reason that we do all of this is because we love the Magic, we love talking about the Magic, and we love Magic fans. And the whole goal behind this show is to continue to grow this fan base. And it feels like we're starting to get some good momentum in that direction. Obviously, the team being better helps all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, it just sucks that the season's over. As painful as it was, the big takeaways is we know that Paolo and Franz are the real deal. And we just got to hope that Jeff Weltman can pull off a heck of an offseason and put these guys in the best position to move forward. Looking forward to seeing the exit interviews tomorrow, and we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah, that's always interesting. We got a super chat here before we go. Ty says, will y'all do any live show in the off season? Yeah, like I said, we'll do a couple. We've done that every off season. Do a couple just random our normal podcast, but we'll just do it in live form so we can get the chat involved and stuff like that. If you don't follow us on social media, that's the best way to keep up to date on those types of things. Twitter, Instagram will always post. Post a heads up, hey, we're going to do the show live tonight, blah, 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 that kind of thing. So, yeah, follow us over there. Always appreciated. So, appreciate it. I see a lot of people in the chat saying thank you so much for all that we do. Again, like Jonathan said, it's our pleasure. It's our privilege, our honor to do it. And so we definitely enjoy it. And I personally, and I know Jonathan too, look forward to doing it again next season. But that is going to do it for another season of Postgame Lives. That is going to do it for another season of Orlando Magic basketball. Season ends in 5 games at the hands of the Boston Celtics. Tough way to go out. But yeah, it opens the door to a very big offseason ahead. Who knows what's going to happen? It's going to be very, very interesting. Lots of exciting things potentially on the horizon. But for Jonathan Osborne, I'm Kevin Tucker. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys on Monday's episode. But until then, let's go Magic.